My dear friend, I've lived more than 60 years on this earth, and I've come to realize something very simple. Life doesn't change overnight. It changes quietly, day by day, choice by choice, through small habits you repeat again and again. When I was young, I used to think success came from a big breakthrough, one grand moment, a lucky chance, or a dramatic turning point. But the older I get, the more I understand that life doesn't work that way. It's not a leap. It's a walk, one steady step after another. Over the years, I've met so many people, business owners, teachers, laborers, fathers, mothers, people who've seen both sweetness and bitterness in life. And they all shared one thing in common. They wanted to change. They wanted to live better, feel calmer, be healthier, and find more meaning in their everyday lives. But you know what? Most of them didn't know where to begin. They waited until their kids grew up. They waited until retirement, until they paid off their debts, until their health got better. But I told them this: if you wait for life to be perfect before you start living, you'll never start at all. I remember one time an old friend called me. He just lost his job, his health was declining, and he said, "Maybe it's too late for me to start over." I asked him, "Are you still breathing?" He laughed and said, "Of course." And I told him, "Then it's not too late." Because I believe this: as long as you can wake up in the morning and feel grateful that you're still alive, it is never too late to begin again. We don't need grand gestures to change our lives. We just need small habits, simple things that when practiced long enough can completely transform how we experience life. When I was younger, I was always in a rush. I wanted everything fast, instant results, instant success. I worked hard, I chased big dreams, but deep inside, I always felt empty. I thought I just needed a bit more success, a bit more money, a bit more recognition, and then I'd finally feel happy. But no. Happiness doesn't live at the destination. It lives in the little things we do each day. There's a quote I love: "Successful people don't do great things. They do small things in great ways over and over again." So I started with small changes, waking up 15 minutes earlier, turning off my phone before bed, saying thank you, with sincerity, listening, instead of arguing, spending 10 minutes a day reading. And the strange thing is those little things changed me more than any thick book or expensive seminar ever could. Let me tell you a story. About 10 years ago, I worked with a woman named Susan. She was 58 then. She came to me with tired eyes and said, "I feel like there's nothing left to look forward to. My kids are grown, my job doesn't excite me, and my husband's too busy with his own world." She said she felt empty, like every morning she woke up just to repeat a meaningless cycle. I didn't tell her to travel to switch careers or to read a self-help book. I simply asked Susan, "Do you have 10 minutes each morning just for yourself?" She said, "Yes, but I usually spend it watching the news." So I said, "Then try this. Use those 10 minutes to sit quietly, breathe, and write down 3 things you're grateful for today." 3 months later, Susan came back. Her eyes were brighter, her voice softer. She said, "I don't know why, but I feel calmer. I'm starting to notice the good things again." She'd begun reading books, calling old friends, learning new recipes. Just 10 minutes each morning, one tiny habit completely changed her life. I share this story because I want you to see change doesn't have to be loud. It starts small. Maybe you're listening to me right now, standing at a crossroads in your life. You look back at the years behind you and wonder, did I live the right way? Maybe you used to be stronger, more passionate, more hopeful, but somewhere along the way, life wore you down. Work, responsibilities, relationships, pressure, they all made you forget who you were. I understand that feeling. I've been there myself. But today, I want you to know something. You don't have to turn your whole world upside down to find yourself again. You just need to slow down, pay attention, and start with small habits. One thing I've learned from working with hundreds of adults is this: age isn't a barrier to change. It's just an excuse we tell ourselves when we're afraid. I once taught a life skills class for people between 55 and 70. There was a man named Frank, 68 years old. He said he wanted to learn meditation just to know what real peace feels like. 3 months later, he told me, "I'm not only calmer, I feel younger." That's the magic of training your mind. It helps you live slower but deeper. And you know what? Change doesn't come from motivation. Motivation might get you started, but habit is what keeps you going. If you rely only on feelings, you'll quit when things get hard. But if you build habits, even tiny ones, you'll go further than you ever imagined. I want you to imagine this. Every day you improve just 1% from yesterday. After 1 year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started. That's the power of small change. It doesn't ask you to be perfect, only consistent. When you change your habits, you don't just change your actions. You change how you think, how you feel, and how you see the world. You start to feel more in control, more peaceful, more loving. And that, to me, is what real success looks like. Today, I want to take those first small steps with you. There's no magic formula, no overnight transformation. Just 13 small habits, simple yet powerful, that I've lived, learned, and witnessed change lives time and time again. So if you're 40, 50, or 60, I want you to remember this. You don't need to become someone else to be happier. You just need to return to yourself and care for that person with the right habits. So take a deep breath. Let go of your worries for a moment. Sit back and let me share with you, from all my years of experience, 13 small habits that may seem simple but have the power to change your life forever. Remember, great change always begins with small steps. And sometimes the smallest thing you do today becomes the greatest gift you give yourself tomorrow. 1. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Most of us are great at keeping promises to others, but we easily break the ones we make to ourselves. We promise to exercise, to sleep early, to learn something new, then forget within a few days. But I've learned this: every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-respect grows a little stronger. You don't have to do anything grand. Just say, "Today I'll walk for 10 minutes," and then actually do it. When you do that, you're building trust with yourself, the foundation for all meaningful change. 2. Begin each day with gratitude. Before you touch your phone, touch your heart. Every morning, I write down 3 things I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's just a cup of coffee, a message from a friend, or sunlight streaming through my window. You know, when we feel grateful, the mind can't complain at the same time. Gradually, you'll find yourself worrying less, fearing less, and feeling much lighter. 3. Walk for 15 minutes every day. No gym required, just a pair of shoes and a path. I walk every morning, not to count steps, but to listen. To the birds, the wind, and the quiet voice inside me. Many people search for inspiration outside, but sometimes all you need is to step outside your door, and you'll find yourself again. 4. Turn off your phone for 1 hour a day. We live in a world where noise doesn't just surround us, it gets inside our heads. I used to carry my phone everywhere, reading news, scrolling social media, answering messages. Then one day, I decided to turn it off for 1 hour each evening. At first, it was uncomfortable, but then I discovered the world doesn't fall apart when you're offline, and in that quiet space, I could finally hear my own thoughts again. 5. Read 10 pages a day. I once heard someone say, "A person who doesn't read is no better off than someone who can't read." Reading isn't just about gaining knowledge, it's about expanding your vision and enriching your soul. Just 10 pages a day. If you keep it up for a year, that's over 3,000 pages, or about 10 books. And those 10 books could mean 10 different lives, 10 priceless lessons you won't find anywhere else. 6. Keep a journal or record your feelings. I started journaling at age 50. At first, I thought I was too old to write, but writing is just another way of talking to yourself. When you write things down, your emotions become clearer. What once felt tangled slowly unravels. You don't have to write beautifully, just honestly, because when you dare to face your feelings, you begin to heal from within. 7. Spend time in nature. How long has it been since you sat under a tree, felt the wind on your skin, or watched a sunset without your phone in hand? Nature is the greatest teacher. It teaches us to listen to, wait, and to accept. Whenever my mind feels cluttered, I step outside and take a walk in the park. Within minutes, everything complicated becomes simple again. Nature always reminds us there's no need to rush. Everything has its rhythm. 8. Learn to say no when needed. The older I get, the more I realize saying no isn't selfish. It's an act of self-preservation. We can't please everyone. Every time you say yes to others while your heart says no, you betray yourself. Learn to say no gently but firmly, because only when you say no to what doesn't serve you can you say yes to what truly matters. 9. Practice kindness every day. A compliment, a smile, a small gesture. They may seem trivial, but they can brighten someone's entire day. I've always believed kindness is like a seed. Plant one and you'll eventually grow a garden. When you do good, not for recognition, but out of genuine warmth, life reflects that same light back to you. 10. Keep your living space tidy. Your home reflects your mind. If your room is cluttered, your thoughts will be too. Every morning, I make my bed. It sounds trivial, but it's the first victory of the day. When you start your day in a clean space, you're sending a silent message to your brain, "I'm ready." And somehow your whole day flows with more clarity and calm. 11. Forgive others and yourself. We all carry a few wounds inside, some caused by others, some by ourselves. But holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing to let go so you can be free. When you forgive, you open the door for peace to walk in. And that peace is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. 12. Listen more, talk less. The young speak to impress, the wise speak to share, but above all, they listen. Listening isn't just with your ears, it's with your heart. Some of the deepest lessons I've ever learned didn't come from experts, but from ordinary people, simply because I took the time to listen. When you truly listen, you understand others better, and yourself as well. 13. End each day in stillness. Before I go to sleep, I turn off all the lights, sit quietly for 5 minutes, breathe, and ask myself, what am I most grateful for today? There's no need for a perfect answer. Just let your heart feel light, because stillness is where the soul recharges. When you end the day with peace, you begin the next with hope. These 13 habits aren't new. They're simple, humble, and accessible to anyone. But their power lies in persistence. Like drops of water that eventually wear away, small actions repeated daily can transform your entire life. And if you're hearing these words right now, I just want to say, you don't need to start all 13 habits today. Just choose one. Begin now. Do it every day. Because change doesn't live in someday. It lives in today. Life doesn't wait for anyone, but it always opens its arms to those who slow down, observe, and live with awareness. So start today with one small habit and let time show you the quiet miracle of transformation. ChatGPT deny. You know, after more than 60 years of living, I've realized something. Life doesn't need us to be perfect. It just needs us to be honest and consistent. Someone once asked me, how can I change my life after 50 when all my habits are already deeply rooted? I looked at them, smiled, and said, you don't have to change your whole life overnight. You just need to change one small habit each day and let time do the rest. I've seen many people start exactly that way. A retired teacher who began each morning by writing down 3 things she was grateful for. A man who had lost his job and hope but started walking every afternoon just 10 minutes a day. A single mother who learned to say no to the things that drained her. And do you know what happened? After a few months, they were different people. Not because they had more money or fewer problems, but because they had found themselves again. I want you to remember this. No one is ever too old to start over. No one is ever too late to live a meaningful life. And every morning when you open your eyes, it's another chance to become a better version of yourself. If you're still watching at this moment, I believe a part of you wants to change, even if it's just a small part. Maybe you want to slow down. Maybe you want to feel more peaceful. Or maybe you just want to learn to love yourself a little more. And I want you to know, you are not alone. I've been through the same, the tired days, the restless nights, the times I doubted myself. But those moments, if we pause, breathe deeply, and look inward, we'll see a tiny flame still burning, the flame of hope, of life, of faith. Hold on to that flame, because sometimes one small spark is enough to light the path ahead. When I was younger, I used to think personal growth meant doing more, achieving more, being better than others. But when I turned 60, I realized real growth isn't about adding more, it's about letting go. Let go of comparisons. Let go of trying to please everyone. Let go of things that no longer belong to you. And when you release what's unnecessary, you finally hear the voice within, a quiet voice, but one that's honest and leads you to the life you truly desire. If today you feel tired, lost, or that life has lost its meaning, give yourself permission to stop. Drink a cup of tea. Step outside for a breath of fresh air. Call an old friend. And remember, none of us are meant to be strong all the time. Sometimes our vulnerability, being honest about how we feel, is actually the beginning of a new journey. Let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine, now 72, once said to me, I wish I had started meditating earlier. I asked why. She smiled and said, because now I realize I've been so busy all my life that I forgot how to listen to myself. That sentence has stayed with me for a long time. Because maybe many of us are like her, living our whole lives without ever truly living with ourselves. If you're in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, remember this. You still have time. It's never too late to learn how to live more peacefully, deeply, and meaningfully. Before we end this video, I want to invite you to do one small thing. Right after this video ends, pick one habit from the 13 I shared earlier. Just one. Maybe it's morning gratitude or an evening walk or turning off your phone for an hour a day. Write it down and put it somewhere you'll see it often on your mirror or maybe your fridge. And tomorrow, do it. Just tomorrow. Don't overthink it. Don't plan too far ahead. Then watch how day by day that small act quietly reshapes your mind and your life. Because real change doesn't come from giant leaps, it comes from small, consistent steps. If something in this video resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel so we can meet here each week. On this channel, Mind Power Skills, I share lessons I've learned after 60 years of living, working, and observing people. We'll talk about things like how to find peace in your mind, how to let go of the past and live fully in the present, and small practical skills to live more freely, deeply, and joyfully. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, maybe how to overcome loneliness after 50, or how to rediscover joy in everyday life, leave a comment below. I read most of the comments, and sometimes one of your questions becomes the inspiration for my next video. I'd also love to hear your story. Where are you on your journey right now? What's been challenging for you, or what are you most grateful for today? Share it in the comments, not just for me, but for others who may need to know they're not alone. Because truly, we're all learning how to live better one day at a time. I've always believed that people don't stop growing until they stop questioning themselves. And as long as you keep asking, keep seeking to understand and love yourself more, it means you're still alive, still moving forward, and still full of hope. Let Mind Power Skills be the place where you come back each week, a place that reminds you you are enough, you are worthy, and it's never too late to change. Before we say goodbye, let me leave you with one last thought. Don't wait for everything to be perfect before you begin. Start and let everything become perfect along the way. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. If today's message touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you care about, because maybe, just maybe, this is exactly what they need to hear today.